Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's webinar. My name is Caleb Tingstad. I am a lawyer at Beresford booth here in Edmonds, Washington. And this week, we're going to briefly discuss why Washington LLCs need Washington LLC agreements. And this really isn't just Washington specific. This is for essentially every single LLC that's formed, regardless of the jurisdiction in which it's formed. Really, every single LLC needs an LLC agreement. And so the big question, of course, is why is that? Why does an LLC need an LLC agreement? And of course, and just to be clear here, an LLC agreement is the governing document. It's not filed with any sort of public-facing entity. You don't file it with the Secretary of State. There's no federal filing of an LLC agreement, which sometimes is called an operating agreement. It is there to govern the rights and obligations of the members with respect to the LLC. And it is very, very important to have. And it's important for several reasons. Many reasons, in fact, more than are just on here, but a couple of ones that come to mind are asset protection. Whenever there is an issue of potentially piercing the corporate veil, there's always a question as to whether the LLC complied with corporate formalities, whether the members treated the LLC as separate from themselves. A very easy way to do this is by having an LLC agreement. So I get questions many times. I have a single member LLC. Do I really need an LLC agreement? Yes, you do. You need to have an agreement between the members and the entity to show the fact that the entity is in fact separate from the members. Also, there are practical reasons. If you want to go open a bank account, many banks will require an LLC agreement to show that the persons that are opening the bank account have been vested with authority under the governing documents to be able to open a bank account. It's also the same thing if you're going to go try and get a loan. Those banks are going to, in many instances, require an LLC agreement to be able to verify that the persons that are opening the account or obtaining the loan are in fact vested with responsibility to do so. And then you're also just wanting to make sure that there's proper governance in place, that there's planning for future events. What happens if someone dies? What happens if someone wants to be cashed out? What if somebody just simply wants to leave? There's other issues relating to indemnification. What happens if a member gets sued in their individual capacity when they're acting on behalf of the entity? Should the entity be paying for their legal fees? There are so many issues that come up that can be addressed with an LLC agreement. And this is why it's really, really, really important to have. If you don't have it, then you're stuck with Washington State's default rules. These default rules are set forth in RCW 2515. Basically, what the statute says is that if you don't have an LLC agreement, then you have to follow these rules. And your LLC agreement can essentially amend nearly all of the rules in the statute with some limited exceptions. Following the default rules is very, very challenging. They're one size fits all, even though as anyone who has ever been involved in any kind of formation of an entity knows that every single entity is unique and different and has different challenges and different needs. But this statute applies equally to all entities, so to all LLCs, excuse me. So some LLCs may be formed just to hold the family cabin that's been in the family for centuries. Some LLCs may be formed for venture capital funds to go out and raise a bunch of money to go pump into a bunch of different projects to turn profits for the investors. Both family cabin LLCs and venture capital funds, which could not be further from could not be less similar, are all subject to the same rules if you don't have an LLC agreement. That's why it's vital to have an LLC agreement. Finally, the Washington default rules are also not going to address exits. What happens if someone dies? What happens if someone wants to be bought out? What happens if someone wants to leave? And frequently, disputes will arise over the exit, over what happens when someone passes away or that kind of a thing. And LLC agreements can be drafted to address all of these issues. And as I said before, all the other issues that will no doubt come up, because every single LLC is unique, has unique needs. And this is why an LLC agreement is very, 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 very important. All LLCs, all Washington LLCs, all LLCs in every other jurisdiction need an LLC agreement. And we're here to help. You can feel free to scan this QR code. This will give you a link to my contact information if you have any questions. And thank you so much for listening.